Welcome to the first session of this week. It's entitled Places in Town. It's our Unit 7 and Lesson A from our book Face to Face, second edition, elementary, and I'm your instructor, Joey Walker. All right, so let's focus on what we're going to learn today. In this session, we will learn places in town, and we will learn to use there is, there are, and there are three forms: affirmative, negative, and interrogative. Let's start. Our vocabulary. Whenever we're talking about places in town, first of all, we can live either in a house or in a building. If you live in a building, you can live in an apartment complex, or how they call it in the UK, it's a flat. So it's either apartment or a flat, for example, here. I currently live in a flat or in an apartment. All right. So that will be our starting vocabulary. Now let's go to things that are around our home. Example, here we have a museum. Here is the British Museum, for example. Okay. Next up, we have a restaurant. So there is a restaurant here. Here's a bar. There is a bar. Here's another one, the Coffee Bean, which is a coffee shop or a cafe, however you want to call it. It's a cafe or a coffee shop. And the book comes as cafe. Remember, you can drink some coffee and get some bagels, donuts, or I don't know, even sandwiches, I believe. I'm not a coffee lover myself. And there's a pub. Now, check. I've been doing some research before I actually posted this video. What's the difference between a bar and a pub? Recently, or not too far ago, I thought that a bar and a pub was exactly the same. Well, it is technically the same with a little difference. The bar is focused on serving beer, wine, and liquor only. All right. So this is more for people that like drinking and going to have a cup and just spend some time. It has, or it tends to have music, a dance floor sometimes, so that would be a bar. Whereas a pub, it's something a little more familiar, or you can go out with friends, watch a game, uh, watch some TV. The music is mild, it's not so high. So it's for people who like hanging out with friends. So the bar is more attractive for young people, where the pub is more attractive for, let's say, older people or a more mature audience. Okay, so here you there's another thing. It says basically four drinks, and this one is gives you the option of drinks, but also it can serve you some food, and it has a variety of food. More than here, it's just a snack like peanuts or things like that. Here, you can actually order a meal while you watch a sport or while you listen to music and chill out with friends. Okay, moving on. For the British, it's called a cinema. For the Americans, it's called a movie theater. So these are other things that there are here, or that we can say there are in town. Here we have a theater. Here is the theater stage and theater. Remember, this is movie theater for films or movies, and theater is for live presentations and actors, monologues, plays, things like that. Here we have a park. So remember, these are things that we have around town. Later on, we'll use this ones with the vocabulary that we will see. Here we have a square. Here you think what's a square? Is like the center in the center of a town. There's like a place where most people gather for events. It usually has a kiosk, some buildings around that are, tend to be historical, or sometimes they're even related to the government. For example, here we have a kiosk. Moving on, we have the station, and we talk about the station specifically. I'm talking about the subway. Or we can say the subway station. This is Pantitlan in Mexico City. We have a bus station. In this case, in the terminals in the United States, they have this. Like there's a station, the North Station, South Station, for the cities where these buses leave or come back, moving people around town. Then we have the airport, and we have a road. Anything that is to give us or direction or that moves us around by car, that would be the road. Usually, it's like a road. Basically, is from one city to another, right? So that would be the main difference between a normal street or an avenue. Okay. Now let's go to the grammar section of this lesson. After we finish with the vocabulary, we have a shop. Very American, it would be a store. British, a shop. For example, we have here clothes shop or a clothing store. Check. A clothes shop or a clothing store. We have a market. Remember, it's a market where you go and buy your groceries, usually open air, and things tend to be cheaper than in a supermarket, for example. You have a hotel wherever you are away from your hometown. You go and you actually stay there. And finally, a beach, something that most people enjoy going to, and whenever there's a vacation or any holiday or free day that we have to enjoy this. All right. So let's talk about this one. There is, there are. We use to say that something exists or doesn't exist. There is, there's an existence, or there are, if there's an existence in plural. So there is singular, there are plural. And if we say negatives, they use there is not, or there's not, or there isn't. Okay? Or there are not, there aren't. Okay? Or they are not. For example, there is, we use it with a singular noun. Example, there is a book on the desk. Mhm. Going back to the vocabulary that we saw, we can say, there is a square in our town. There is a square in our town. There are is for plural. For example, there are books on the desk. You can say plural form. There are two ice cream parlors in our town. Okay. Okay. There is, remember, you can use it with singular or uncountable noun. There is some milk in the fridge, or there is milk in the fridge. There is water in the fridge. There is butter in the fridge. Okay, so we have there is for singular and there is for uncountable noun. Negatives, there isn't, the lack or of existence of a thing or in a place. For example, there isn't a pen on the table. I can say here in the hometown or my new hometown or where I'm working, there isn't a cinema here. So there isn't a cinema. There isn't a movie theater. We can say there aren't, plural noun. So we say there aren't plus a plural noun. There aren't any. Check. We say negative, there isn't a pen, singular. There aren't any. You use any like not even one. There aren't any pens here. For example, I can say there aren't any fast food chains here in our hometown or where I'm currently living. And there isn't for uncountable nouns. There isn't any juice in the fridge. There isn't any, let's see, there isn't any butter. There isn't any cream. Okay. If we want to make question, we just swap the order. Instead of saying there is, we say is there. For example, there is a cat on the chair. We can say, is there a cat on the chair? Hmm. In plural form, you say affirmative. There are cats on the sofa. Question: are there cats on the sofa? How do you answer this? If I ask, is there a cat on the chair? Yes, there is. If that happens, or no, there isn't. Or you can say, no, there isn't any. Wherein we use the are there. You can say, are there cats on the sofa? Yes, there are. or no, there aren't any. When we use any, that there's not even one. We'll give a further review of this in the next lesson, actually, but up to the moment, that will be all. So remember the contractions. There's, it's there is. There's not, for there is not. There isn't, for there is not. There aren't, for there are not. Or there not, right? But that's like least common. So with this, we conclude this session. Is very short, but you'll have your hands full in the next one. So I'll conclude with this one. Have fun, take care, and I'll see you in the next video. Hope you have fun. Bye bye.